I'd like to start this video off with an apology. So I've had this gun for about 2 months. I already tried a stab at filming a video for it. Quick editor's note, I had my iPhone shooting a top-down angle of my hands as I was filming this video, but I didn't press the record button properly, so I didn't get the angle while I was filming. I'm sorry. I hear you, some of the commenters who are like, oh, we don't care about your face, just show us the gun, we just want to see the gun. I hear you on that, and sorry it didn't happen in this video, but in the next videos to come, I will have a top-down angle, and it is all set up, ready to go. And this gun has been out for about 2 months, 2.5 months on the market, and I got it pretty early on release. I went to my local gun store, and I had them waitlist me, and then they gave me a call, said they had a 425 in stock, and I went and picked it up, and I am grateful that I picked this one up because I've heard some things regarding the 5-inch variant of the Prodigy in terms of reliability being an issue, and where also slide mass and recoil spring weight and things of that nature are not as ideal for the 9mm cartridge. And so I think that this gun is a winner, and this is a first look. Even though I've had this gun for 2 months, I only have about maybe anywhere between 200 to 300 rounds through it. And I do have some things to report based on that number though. So don't just think that this is going to be like a glowing review of the gun. I know that some people have, in the world of quality control, had great experiences. They were shipped a Prodigy that had 0 problems, or maybe that had like a couple failure to feeds or failure to go on a battery. But I know others have had a completely different story with the Prodigy, where magazines were causing issues, and where disconnectors were causing issues, and where recoil springs were doing weird things. And there have been a lot of problems regarding this release, which makes sense if you think about it, because the 1911 double stack market as it is mainly dominated by guns that are being hand fitted, guns that each firearm, before it goes out, all of the parts are machined properly and made to fit that specific gun, whereas this is kind of the first stab at a mass-produced double stack 1911. Although you would think that there wouldn't be that many issues because mass-produced 1911s have been a thing for a long time, that is not the case. And so the technology just has to kind of catch up in terms of quality control with Springfield. Technology or level of attention, because technology I think is certainly there. Before this gun came out, I wanted the Staccato C2 really badly, and I waitlisted at Scheels for it. I had it in my shopping cart at times, and I was really tempted to pull the trigger, but ultimately I didn't because of that price tag. And now that this, basically the second that I saw rumors of this gun, I was immediately interested, and watching all the videos that came out, because this finally felt like, to me, a door that could be opened that was slammed shut in my face, which was super expensive 2011s. And although, I mean, there's a $1,000 difference, which isn't all that much, especially when you look at other 2011s like Terran Tactical Sand Viper that runs for like all of the money, and Staccato's XC that runs for $4,000, things of that nature. But to me, that was a big difference, especially since I don't revolve my life around guns. Before we go any further, clear and safe. This gun I feel like is kind of a perfect entry level into the 2011 world. And now some people there have been really mixed things regarding just shootability of this gun. And some people say that this gun shoots better than a Staccato Pete due to its weight. And some people say that this gun cannot compete at all or hold up to at all Staccato's lineup, you know, including the way it shoots, the recoil impulse, and everything in between. Now, I can't speak to that. I haven't shot a Staccato or any other 2011, or even any other 1911 for that matter. But I can speak to the fact that this gun outperforms every other gun in my arsenal, in my collection. And I have a 6-hour P320X5 Legion. I have a Glock 19 that has been modified a good bit. I have a modified P365. Everything that I've tried to do with any pistol I've had hasn't even come close to this thing out of the box in terms of being able to put rounds on target quickly and accurately. And in my opinion, that is kind of the most important thing when it comes to self-defense and having fun at the range. Now, I can't recommend this gun as a carry gun quite yet, and that's because, one, I haven't put 500 rounds through it, and I'm not legalistic about 500 rounds being a break-in period before I can carry a gun. I just think that you need to be comfortable with it, you need to be familiar with it, and you need to have the gun fully broken in and ready for carry. And reliability has to be something that you've seen firsthand with your piece. And sure, there are things that you can do to modify the Prodigy to make it more reliable, or you can also just activate your warranty, send it into Springfield, have them take a look at what parts might be causing hangups or could cause hangups down the road. And from what I've heard so far, they are usually pretty good about making sure that you're going to be set up well and set up to run this gun if you send it in and it's still under warranty and you haven't modified things. I guess for me, the one thing I wish that they had the TLR1, I wish that they had an aluminum framed version. Steel gets a little bit harder for me to carry. Just to preface, I have a spinal injury. It's a pars defect where my lowest vertebrae is out of place. And so when I'm carrying concealed, sometimes that can cause some stiffness and discomfort and pain in the lower back area for me. And one thing that can contribute to that directly is weight. So this gun is a little bit on the heavier side. It's 33 ounces unloaded. And that's not terrible for a carry gun by any means. I have a sidecar for this, but I normally just skip that holster because it causes discomfort. If you're thinking about picking up this gun and you know that you want to do some upgrades to it because you're saving some money, you know, getting the Prodigy as opposed to a Staccato, the areas that you might want to invest money in could be things such as the recoil spring, the main spring, the disc connector, the manual safety, probably for sure the slide release, maybe even the hammer because I believe that is metal injected molded. Something like the hammer struts, and the trigger shoe is plastic, it's polymer, and so that might bother some people. Also, the pull weight is around anywhere between 4 to 7 pounds, people have said, and to me, I feel like it's a perfect defense trigger. For competition, it might not be a great trigger, but in the world of defense, it is perfect in my opinion, and I can shoot this trigger much flatter, much more controlled in regards of accuracy and speed, better than my Timney Alpha trigger in my Glock, which is considered to be the best trigger for the Glock system in terms of aftermarket upgrades. And this is the one that comes straight out of the box. I think it's better than my Alpha, in all honesty. I can control my groups. And, you know, of course, there are far more variables than just trigger pull to when you're looking at things like speed and accuracy, combining the two, but I am far more accurate with this gun and far faster with this gun, running it in the stock configuration. Another area where you could look into upgrading is doing something like a manual grip safety pin, but I have never had an issue where I pull the gun up, ready to fire, thumb safety off, and it doesn't go boom because I haven't depressed the grip safety. I've got a firm grip, I've trained it, and so I'd recommend that you do the same. One thing that is a little disappointing is the paint job. And now it's a basic Cerakote, and when it comes to Cerakote, I feel like they kind of might have cut corners because I've got other Cerakote guns that are holding up a lot better than this one. That's obviously just an aesthetic thing, but it could lead to rust on the slide if bare metal becomes exposed over time. So I'm kind of thinking about doing something like a porting job at the end, maybe like a Monsoon Tactical, Genghis Comp style. And if I end up sending out the slide and barrel, I might as well just get the slide black nitrided. Other than those two upgrades, the only other thing that I'm considering at this time is to get an extended slide release. One other concern regarding the Springfield is they claim this gun is optics ready. However, the plates really aren't available. They only give you one plate out of the box that is ready for their Hex Wasp, I believe, or Hex Dragonfly, I can't remember which one. More of the story is don't get either of those. They're pretty poor red dots. And like their guns, Springfield has had some quality control issues with the dots, of some being able to not even achieve zero, like the dial adjustments won't go far enough to zero this gun properly. And that's not in all of them, of course. This, again, first looks, I'm excited to do more shooting with this gun. I might even just send it out pretty soon here if I can pass it by the wife and get that porting job and slide work done, just because of the fact that optic plates aren't out. So I might as well just send her off and shoot with other stuff while I enjoy using this gun iron sight, because in my testing it's been extremely accurate 15 and in. I don't really shoot at 25 much, so but I probably will try that with this gun just to see if I can improve at all because I suck at distance with handguns. Dot or not, I just suck. But I'd be lying if I said that I wasn't interested in maybe sending this out for some milling. Is it necessary? Absolutely not. But I mean, additionally, it would help with weight savings too, because they'd be cutting some steel out of the slide and barrel. In the world of marketing, in the world of products, I think that Staccato made a good move in response to the Prodigy. Obviously, they were developing their new CS long before the Prodigy was announced. I think that they're taking a great step to pioneer the space of 2011s. If you're not familiar, the CS, the Staccato CS, is their newest subcompact 2011 that holds 16 rounds. It's got a 3-point-something inch barrel, and it's got a small grip, and it contends with the likes of the Glock 43X, 48, SIG P365, X Macro, XL. I think that it might be a king in its category of handguns, and I'm hoping to be able to at least just see one sometime in the near future. I probably won't buy one because it's so much money. It's $2,500. And let's be honest, with my sample size of one, this has been a great gun. It's been reliable. The only issues that I haven't even talked about my reliability stuff, so sorry about that. Only issues I've seen were two failure to feeds in the first 200 rounds, and then failure to go into batteries, which I believe was due to limp wristing from my wife shooting it. And that's because we went to the range date night and we both were shooting the gun. I was shooting it just fine, no problems reliability wise. I did take a Dremel to the feed lips of the magazines, just a little bit. I spent like 2 minutes on them, on each. And so I didn't do too much destruction on the magazine. I just kind of went in there, smoothed things up a little bit, and that seemed to help because I didn't get the failure to feeds anymore. But my wife, I think because she was limp wristing, got some failure to go into batteries. So the gun would just kind of stick out, and I can't even get it to do it, but it would kind of just stick out ever so slightly, and couldn't pull the trigger. So I think that's more of a user error problem because I can diagnose that by testing out the disconnector, seeing if that is a out of spec disconnector by pulling the trigger, racking the slide back, letting it come forward, and nowhere in that process, I'll do it again, does it get hung up. And I'm not applying any forward pressure, I'm just letting it do its thing. So from what I understand, that means that the disconnector is not a huge problem. And I know some people have been taking Dremels to their disconnectors. Please don't do that, just send it in, use the warranty, sign up for it online, and Springfield will take care of you. All right guys, that's all I have for you today. Thanks for watching, we'll see you in the next video.